Welcome to the Off the Sticks podcast, hosted by yours truly, Kips, and
Murray Kirby.
that's right. So this week we're doing a little something different. This week we're gonna shake it up a bit. Um,
Spooky season.
yeah, we're gonna get a little bit into the supernatural, I guess, paranormal. Not really paranormal. That has more to do with ghosts, but just a little bit of the extraterrestrial, supernatural type of shit. Um, and so like with our channel design, it's centered around us being abducted while playing video games, right? Abducted by aliens. So I figured, why don't we do an alien themed episode where we find like one or two of the best stories that we could ever get and that we could find, and then why don't we like read them and like pull up pictures and like go into depth about these stories on the podcast. So I thought that would be just a pretty good idea. So without further ado, though, I think we should just roll into it. But before we do, Preston, what'd you do this week, buddy?
Well, today basically is when I went and I caught up with a little buddy. We went to disc golf. If you guys don't know what disc golfing is, like Thursday, you just throw it into a little hoop. And then we went and ate some awesome hamburgers. Um, this week I don't know, I've been trying to focus more on like adapting to how I'm gonna stream and adapting like what games to play and how to like
Yeah.
elaborate what I want, I guess. And just trying to focus more on myself. What about you, Alex?
Uh, Not much. Had a dog for the first time ever. Got a hold a dead animal, so that was fun. Had to chase him and get it out of his mouth, and yeah, that was great. Um, I don't know,
So
not
someone
much.
killed the
Just
dog and killed the
yeah,
animal in your yard?
yeah,
Bro, isn't that like strange? We're like gonna have something about like weird things happening and all of a sudden like two animals, like you had a
yeah.
dead animal experience and I had a dead animal experience.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that too. Like, I was just like,
Because last
"Fuck,
night
bro."
I may have heard something, but I did not hear anything, I guess. And then I wake up, go outside, and check outside my front yard. And in my driveway, there's a dead deer, like full on dead deer. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I mean, sorry for cursing, but like, what does someone do about that? Do you call animal control? Do you call redneck? Who do you call to get a
Right?
deer off your
Yeah,
land? Like, I don't want to go freaking drag a dead deer anywhere, but like, I gotta leave. I can't just like
yeah.
not go to work Monday because I have a dead deer. And plus, like, what's a dead deer gonna bring to your house? Like, what type of like diseases if it's
Probably
just
not
sitting
much.
there?
Yeah, if it just sits there and fucking boils and like bakes away, yeah. But like, I'm
Like, it's
talking,
good thing that it's cold, I guess.
yeah. But I don't know.
Um,
Just leaving it there though, somebody could think you fucking did it and just left it there. So like, you could get in trouble for that.
yeah, I don't know what to do. I might call someone Monday because I think they're gonna be closed till Monday.
Yeah.
Because I can't just let it be there. Like, it's gonna start stinking. I guess we can get right into it if you want. I was wondering, do you believe in aliens? Like, or like,
Do I
do
believe in
you believe
aliens?
in? I guess does I'm asking the chat too. Do y'all believe in aliens? Is there any like possibility? I mean, I'm not talking like little green looking things, but like something that's not really what we consider like human beings type of lives.
Bro, I mean, yeah. I mean, when you boil it down, bro, to like the whole possibility, like you know how many planets there are?
Oh, there's just in this universe, there's eight, nine, depending on who you ask. Like I think there's nine, but like,
No, Preston,
is there
Preston,
more?
in our solar system, in our solar system, not universe, buddy.
Oh, okay.
Because there's a solar system, then there's a galaxy, right? And then there's out in the galaxy, and then outside of the galaxy, there's millions more galaxies, and then outside of all those is a universe, right? So the universe is like the overarching like everything. Whereas
I'm talking our Milky Way.
yeah, the solar system. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so there's eight of them or nine, right?
Fucking. I think there's seven or eight.
Oh.
I don't fucking know.
But anyways, like you like we're only like a little fraction of what's really out there. Like
Yeah.
Mars, they have found like ice and stuff on Mars. So it's not
Right.
like there could not be no chance of same things relating to Earth. Like I think Earth just all everything formed right and made trees, which was able to make oxygen and was able to like clean out all everything so we could breathe. And it started off like progressing into something that we're able to live in.
Right.
And
That I
like
mean
humans are
that's
able to adapt to like how to like live.
you're right. Yeah. That I mean that it could be, bro. That's like the thing is like nobody knows. Like even going into this little alien subject that we're going into in this podcast, there's a theory, bro, that human evolution could literally just be because like we were like actual like primates on the planet and then an alien species came down and interfered with our genetics and like made us smarter or like whatever the case may be, but there's like a theory out there that's like that, like we were like our genetics were interfered with a long time ago and that's what made us like start evolving into actual people. Isn't that wild?
That's a cool point. Yeah, man. Like it's like we are so much like a ape, and like not just apes, like pigs. We have like my dad has pig skin on him. I think something else a pig,
Like a
but it's
skin
like
graft.
yeah,
Yeah.
like he got burned and he literally has pig skin or pig graft or whatever you want to call it, and that's the craziest thing. Like we're able to take other animals that we eat and able to
Right.
like transfer it into our own skin, and our skin's able to adapt to it. I think it's cool that like the science behind all that.
Yeah, dude. So like when even like whenever you think about that too, this is like a little bit off topic, but this is more into like genetics and stuff, dude. You look at like what you could do with alien or not aliens, I'm sorry, like animals and shit. And then dude, like it could be possible in the far off future that we could be fucking like embedding like animal genetics with our own to make us like how like cockroaches could survive a nuclear blast.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
like we could embed that into our own genetics somehow if like some mad scientist like figures it out. But like, wouldn't that be the
Kind of
most
like The Last
insane
of
thing?
Us,
Yeah,
like that
or
girl.
like that. Yeah,
I'm not trying to spoil too much just in case if anyone hasn't seen it, but
it's
like,
a video game that's been out since 2013. If you haven't played it yet, go fuck yourself.
um, or kind of even just like dogs. Like the dog, there's like a wolf, and then the
Right.
wolf was able like, oh, we like this part on the wolf, and
Yeah,
we've
through
done so many. Yeah,
inbreeding, and like a whole bunch of shit and domesticating them, they've just like
became like the man's best
yeah,
friend, but it took so much time to do that. And now we have, if you want a Chihuahua, if you want a freaking, what even is your dog again?
a giant Alaskan Malamute, half giant Alaskan Malamute, half regular Malamute.
So yeah, it's like crazy to even put those two in the same like category of his dog, because like
Right.
one's a little tiny dog, and then your dog's like a
Yeah.
bear.
Yeah, for real.
But
Yeah.
I think it's just crazy. Like I don't know if you want to call them like aliens. Like, what if they've been here longer than we have? Like what you said about the genetically, like how it could have messed up with our genetics. Like, what if like
Yeah.
they're just like in the water or something, or if they're like underground, or if they live in another like like somewhere. I don't know, and we just don't know anything about them. Like,
Yeah, there's been I think it's not Randall Car it might be Randall Carlson, but I know it's Graham Hancock. He talks about I think it's Centauri 4 or Centauri 8, something like that. It's some solar system that apparently there's like there's hidden ancient clues to, and like Graham Hancock has like a whole bunch of stuff where he's like discovered like what could have been Atlantis, and like there's like ancient, so like in the Amazon, right? Oh shit. In the Amazon, all of the trees in the Amazon are actual like they're trees that were like agricultured there, right? So like people brought them there because they were the trees. It's like the ice cream bean tree and a couple other trees that were like meant for food and for like agriculture, right? So like the most of the
Yeah.
Amazon is like man-made. And so they found underneath this man-made Amazon jungle is like there was like so many civilizations that they have discovered with lidar and stuff because they sent the lasers through the ground, and he's like one of the main people that have helped discover that. But he
Well,
also
that's
has
crazy.
like,
Like we're able to do that. Like
oh yeah,
use scanning objects. Like we don't have to see nothing. We just have to like scan over it.
right.
And that's just like a crazy thought to even thinking about.
I lost my little headphone bead.
What's a oh
Just
so it
completely.
hurts.
No, it doesn't hurt.
Um
It's just completely gone. I was like, where the hell? But
so I guess to go back to like genetically modified, like how like we could like been switched into something like pivoted into becoming something that we are today.
yeah.
Like I think you should bring up how like that one island that was found
Okay, yeah, I'll go ahead and do that.
kind of transition just because that one kind of like relays into that.
Yeah, here, let me go ahead and pull this up really quick. It's from the Daily Loud, right? Um, and it is a drone pilot has contacted an undiscovered tribe somewhere in the Amazon, and they have it's just wild the way that they look. They are like their faces are sunken in, and it's because they haven't eaten, like they aren't eating enough, right? However, they give off such an alien appearance. Like when you describe like a classic alien with the small jaw and the giant head, they give off somebody a classic alien appearance. And also, um,
Their feet,
yeah,
their feet and their hands, like
their
they have just adapted to like how they need to live. Like
right.
if you're running all the time, like you need to have like real men feet, like not like calling it like sexist, but like just saying like you need to have like a foot that's not going to get cut up every single time you run through
Well,
it.
they
Like
I think it's called splayed feet. I think that's what it's called. Splayed feet. So it's like when you adapt to jungle life, your feet become splayed out like to the side like they're monkeys, right? Like monkey feet. And so um like it helps you like when your feet splay out like that, it helps you grip onto trees and like climb over the roots and run over the roots without like having to, wear a boot. And it like they'll laugh at you. Like actually Forrest Galante went out to a couple places, which is a dude who is, he like studies these fucking like these animals that were supposed to be extinct, right? So
yeah,
he goes out and studies these fucking animals, and um, they laughed at him and his friends because they were wearing boots out there because they run around in bare feet, right? And so they were wearing big old boots and they were slipping off logs and stuff because it was all wet and slippery. And they were just running across the logs perfectly fine with bare feet. So they were laughing at them. And I just think that's pretty funny. It's like they've grown so accustomed to this life that like they just are complete fucking just ready. Like their feet are just ready for it and meant for it. So this essentially right here, pulling it up on stream right now, this is the tribe that they found with the drone. So like you can see like right around here, like their faces, dude. This is just insane. And here you can see their feet. Like look how their feet are ginormous. Their feet are absolutely ginormous. And then they have one more picture here that we'll pull up, and you can just kind of
these
see
are
that
real
like,
people. It's not
yeah, these are real
like
people.
I think people get so weirded out just like by
Like
people having different colored hair. Like that's pretty weird how like we could all just
it's just
barely be different, but like there's people
yeah,
like that. And
it's
it's like,
just
why do we
insane,
all
man.
treat each other so bad when like I feel like everyone's like got something good about them for something.
Well, right. There is to that, but however, like you gotta think when you're doing this, dude. Like this person was just probably not even expecting to find this, right? They were probably not even expecting to find anything at all. They were just going up to the jungle just to like look around in the jungle, think it'd be cool because that'd be cool just to look around the
Oh, the
jungle.
jungle would be crazy, man. I don't
Right.
even know anything about
So
the
then to
jungle.
find that, dude, that tribe now probably thinks that drone is a god because it's unbeknownst to them, they don't know what technology is most likely, right? So they don't, like if like it's the same thing as like if you flew a helicopter over a jungle and the same tribe saw it, but you didn't see the tribe, that tribe would start worshiping that thing as if it was a big god. Like it would be like, the tree, because the trees, like if a helicopter is flying at relatively low altitude, the trees are gonna bustle all around it, right? So it's gonna make it seem like a giant monster thing to somebody that
And
doesn't
it's
know
gonna
what a
sound
helicopter
like
is. Yeah, just chopping the air, just fucking like the chopping on the air. So like you're the people on the ground, unbeknownst to that, are just going to think that this is a giant sky god, right? And so they could be worshiping that, like especially if like if there's a military operation and they are in aerial combat or something like that, and like perhaps just maybe a bullet goes down and hits the ground or like hits one of the huts, like they might think that they angered a god or something. You know what I mean? So like that
yeah,
could change the whole perspective of that village, just like being not
instantly.
properly introduced. Yeah, instantly just being not properly introduced to that technology. Like if they just like spotted it right off the bat, like they would definitely just think that's a god, like something flying above them, and like they're just like looking at it and they're just like, you know what I mean. So going into that more though, the gods that are based in mythologies all over the world, right? So get this: what if they weren't
Okay.
actual gods? They were time travelers with
Bro, I was
technology,
just thinking that. Yeah.
and so they misinterpreted some things as like maybe there was a plane that used to fly around, right? So they thought that was like a sun god or like a god of the god of the flight or something like that. You know what I mean? Maybe there was some dude with hover boots. Like, what if it was just a bunch of assholes that got a hold of some time travel shit and then just went back in time and just to be like feel like they were, were something. You know what I mean? Like, what if it was just a bunch of assholes that were just like, we're gonna pull a prank on the entirety of a timeline right now?
Well, it kind of, there's no facts behind this, but like,
Right.
it's kind of weird how
It's just all
like,
like speculation and theory.
kind of weird how like 100 years ago, there's not even like a phone. There's not any of these things that like be created. Like how far we're able to go in just 100 years. Like, but like way back then, like they didn't have nothing.
Oh yeah.
Like I wonder like if something like someone from the future was like, hey, like here, Thomas Edison, like
You're one.
you want to bit what?
No, no, go on. You said Thomas
But
Edison.
like,
That should make me laugh.
but like here, like here's this like hint to something, not like
Yeah.
just dropping bombs, but like here, you guys need to start adapting to how to live and how like
Right.
not saying like this is the best type of living, but like let's progress because like once one thing's like you watch something in like Back to the Future or something and they leave something behind, then
Yeah.
you go back to it like it's the same time, but yet they're
Right.
so much farther ahead because you left it behind. So I don't know. I think about that a lot. Like they're able to, I don't know. Like it's just crazy what 100 years can go by. Like
Right.
once technology starts to like progress. Now we have AI probably thinking for itself, and it's gonna be like AI is gonna be creating stuff that we don't even know about. It's not humans anymore. So
Right. And this goes into something totally different, but think about this, dude. So like the life expectancy of like people way back like 200 years ago was like, or maybe even like 300, 400 years ago was like 35, 40, whatever. They didn't
yeah,
live until super old. And then it gradually got older, right? So then people in like like they're born in like the 1900s are now living like to like their 80s and 90s and like almost 100s. And some people are living over 100, right? So the people, as we're getting older as generations, we haven't met our maximum life expectancy, right? So like me and you, we could fucking live to 200 years old. This is so far fetched, but we could live to 200 years old theoretically if the time jumps were to keep going, because like
I don't think it's too
it,
far fetched. I think it could happen like
I
in our
really don't think it was
lifetime. Like,
normal for people to live past like 200 years old or past, or I mean 200, nobody's lived to 200, but like past like 100 years old or 90, 80 years old back
oh,
in the day. I think it was so rare, right? Like it had
bro,
to be.
even like now, like they would die from just like exhaustion, pretty much, and like stuff like
Yeah.
that. But now we're dying like not even just dying, we're like losing our brains and stuff. Like just a whole new evolution of like
Right, like
diseases are hitting.
Alzheimer's and like like our brains are deteriorating and like do you think like Alzheimer's and like a lot of this stuff was around like back in the day? So like my theory
Just
would
thinking
be
that.
we're going to get into this in in a different episode probably later in the year. Um, but my theory around this would be possessions back in the day, right? Possessions right in the back in the day, were they just meant people that were mentally ill? Did they just have like a mental illness?
Like what being like possessed?
Yeah, and they thought they were possessed.
Oh
Like
yeah, like
maybe
Alzheimer's, like
or yeah, or somebody was like schizophrenic or something and had like or like maybe they had
just like twitching and then like, bro, what's going
or
on
like
with you? And then
multiple
they say some
personalities
crazy,
or something
yeah.
like that. Like just something that's like almost normal now. Like like
That's what the oldsters will say though. Like they'll be like, yeah, like these new days they're just saying all these like type of things like, oh, allergic to peanuts. No one was used to be allergic to peanuts, but what if your buddy was allergic to peanuts, but he didn't know it? Like we're
right.
able to figure
It's
stuff
like
out now.
it's also genetic. Like our genes can be modified as we get older through different things. I mean, that's how we have different skin colors and everything like that. It's because we've like people lived in areas and then they moved to different areas and their skin they didn't get enough sun or it wasn't like hot enough there, so they gradually got lighter and lighter and lighter. Like your origin of life is in Africa. Like everything is started in fucking Africa, and then like people branched out from there, and that's where we've gotten like just like all these different fucking skin colors from because like our skin had to adapt to the environment that we lived in, just like wolves and just like everything else. Like there's like timber wolves, there's Arctic wolves, there's wolves that could probably survive like or you know what I'm talking about. There's just
Yeah.
variations of fucking animals, like bears, for instance. Bears, they can be literally everywhere. They can be bears in Mexico. There can be bears in the North Pole, anywhere, right? So it's like they had to adapt to like where they were living. So like, they didn't get warm enough, so they adapted to their fur color and blah 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 blah. Or they weren't getting enough like they had to adapt their fur color to like be able to hunt properly. You know what I mean? So like it's just like I don't know what I'm really trying to say here, but you know what I'm trying to get at. It's just like
Yeah, of course.
it's just so fucking insane. It's
Or
just
even
like
like for it goes with people too. Like they say like whenever you have like someone from like Africa coming over to Mexico and then like they have a baby and then that baby goes with someone from America or maybe for Ireland and like
right,
it makes kind of like a superhuman. It's not a superhuman, but like they're supposed to be in like they have all those pluses to them. Because
right.
whenever you have like a small tribe of 100 people, I mean,
You don't get you're like
you're
when you
gonna
have
be
like a
stuck with
tiny
that same, yeah,
the same gene pool. It's gonna keep pulling down because everybody
yeah.
has
It's
the
kind of
same
like the
genes,
kings.
and if
Like
everybody
they
stays in the
only
same
had sex
place,
with like their family, so
right?
it only
Yeah,
like dwindled, made them more
right,
vulnerable to all these diseases.
right.
Like we're able to like genetically modify our like even humans. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and I think GMOs are like bad and quote, but like we do it every day, even with dogs. Like we genetically modified them to how we like them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, you want that? Just we were just talking about it. But yeah,
Yeah.
I think we should transition it back into aliens. I was wondering, have you ever had a alien encounter
I mean,
other than Paul?
I mean, not really, dude. I've had some weird stuff happen. Like, so one time I was like probably 13, and my best friend at the time and I were out on the boat, out on this boat because we were gonna go sleep on it, and we were just like out looking at the stars and we were just talking about shit, and we saw like this green like little dot and fucking two red dots behind it just go through the sky, and then we heard like maybe 30 seconds later it just go and we were like what the fuck, like it was so intense, like being that young and just like experiencing something like that, it was so fucking intense to us. So like we went inside and immediately like try to Google if there was like any fucking like meteor showers or anything that
Yeah,
night. Couldn't find fucking shit. I don't know if we just searched it wrong or like whatever, but like we couldn't find fucking shit. And I was just like, that was like my first thing that I ever saw that I couldn't really explain. But like being older and knowing that comets can be like meteors or whatever the fuck they are, can be like, of
It happen all the time.
different colors and shit like that. It's like, okay, yeah, it's like maybe it wasn't an alien, but being 13 at the time and seeing something green fly through the air and then a crash, you're like, oh my god, yeah, it was a spaceship, you know. But then I'd say like in August, yeah, it was like around August. My brothers and I went to the lake over here, and I was on the phone in the car with a girl, and I looked like with one of my friends, and I looked up, and like I don't know how to describe it. It was like the weirdest shooting star that you could ever see. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I have a
yeah,
story kind of like that.
it was like a weird shooting star, but the shooting star was like remained connected all the way through, and it was like just weird, and it just went for a little bit, and that was it. But I was just like, what the hell? And that just sums it up.
Yeah, like
But
a couple months, like 2, 3 months ago, I had that same experience, except it didn't look like a shooting. It had like a light to it, but it wasn't like a big light.
yeah,
It was, like when it's getting dark out, but it's not dark. Like you're like,
yeah,
damn, like it's starting to get dark. I'm getting kind of sad that the day's almost over. But anyways, I'm looking up there with somebody, and we're like, whoa, you see that? Like it kind of looks like something. And all of a sudden, it just goes from like maybe like like an airplane, you look at it, it like slowly goes.
yeah.
It just goes like that, and then zoots by. I'm like, what? And like it's just something I've never said out loud. So like, except for that day, we're like, what did we just see? Like I'm
Right.
not saying it was like aliens, but like, is it something like what the government was doing, or
Right, because
just like,
we live next to an Air Force base. For anybody that doesn't know, like the Air Force base that is pretty close and is like almost in the center of the city. So
um, yeah, that was crazy to me. Just like how that happened. And then
yeah,
speaking of like the Air Force Base, when the day I first like COVID, when
yeah.
it first happened, like I can't say it was the first day, but like the first day like it started coming to the United States, I come home and there's three cargo bobs flying past my house. I'm like you watch like freaking like end of
Looking
the
up,
day,
yeah, like the apocalypse
you
movies
see
and
like
shit.
freaking like our
Yeah,
my road is freaking dead.
yeah.
I'm like, bro, what is going on? Like,
Oh
I
my
wasn't trying to get
god.
scared, but I'm like, are they
Yeah.
trying to make me scared with this one?
Right, dude. That's a big thing. Is people were like scared that they were trying to like scare other, they were trying to scare the mass population into doing stuff, right? But like that's a whole different fucking topic. But
Yeah.
I actually have another one that I completely forgot. So my house is literally like you go down the road. So my house sits inside of a neighborhood, right? And there's this road on the outside of the neighborhood, and you go down the road, and the Air Force base is literally right fucking there. Okay, so like I was probably 18 at the time, and it was with my ex. We were in this house, this exact fucking house, and for like 2 weeks, we just kept hearing like it sounded like a fucking airplane, right? But it would make the entire house shake, the entire house shake, everything in the fucking house. It made a painting fall off the wall one time, right? So then it was just me and her one day, and she had the recording on her phone. I wish I fucking had it. It was literally this black ball. Like, I'm not even kidding you. It was a black ball like this. And it was fucking so immensely loud. And it shook literally like our house and the neighbor's house. And it fucking, we saw it. And she has it on video. It flew down and then between the two houses right here. And then just straight up in the air. And we lost complete sight of it, dude. And it scared like the absolute shit out of me. I was like, what the fuck are they working on, man? Like, holy shit. Because
Like,
I always had the theory because like whenever I would drive to my brother's house when I was like 16, like you go around this thing on a highway and there's a door in the side of a hill on the highway, and I'm just like, what the fuck is in that door? You know what I mean? Like what is in that? It's just like in the side of the hill. It's like there's a fence right here, highway here, side of the hill, inside of the fence right here, right, and then there's a door inside of the hill, and it's just like
yeah.
it goes into something, and you're just like, there's no like tarmac, there's nothing over there besides that fucking door. So like, what the hell is that?
Yeah, like, what are they hiding? Or not just the government, like these
Oh yeah,
millionaires and just like all that type
oh
of
yeah,
stuff.
oh yeah. But
Well, that's a
the
totally different story, anyways. Like
yeah,
the corruption of everything.
that's a
That's just a
lot.
sad, yeah.
That might be a whole fucking series of videos, honestly. Uh, but you want to go ahead and get into your story, Jeff?
Uh, why not? So I'm trying to think about the name of it. So I mean, I kind of have like just a little fun fact, like
All right.
before we get into it. So, the biggest squid ever like captured was back in like 2004, 2006. It was a 24-foot female giant squid. And reference like 24 feet, that's almost like a quarter of a fucking football field.
Right.
Like that's a huge squid. Can you imagine like just anything being in the ocean? Like what is in our oceans? I think that's the biggest thing. Like it might not be aliens, but like what if it's just like how we were talking about, like
Right.
people from the future? Like, what if they have just like a way to get under the earth and just like that's where they go, just because they know there's no evidence over it, but like
Right.
that's like the biggest thing like could happen. But anyways, so I was on YouTube the other day looking up
Yeah.
stuff, trying to figure out a good story to figure out, and I don't know like what's a good source or not when it comes to all this, but I was going to the History Channel, you know, and they were talking about USO as unidentified submerged object, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's basically like something that's in the water that they don't know what it is. And like, I mean, if you have these big ships, they can pretty much tell what's in the water up to a certain point.
Right, because
And
the
it's
sonar and the
crazy,
radar
yeah.
tracking and things like that. Yeah.
It's crazy that they can't even go that far with those because those are like billions of dollars just worth of fucking like
Oh yeah.
that equipment. But anyways, they were talking about how like this ship jumped outside of the water, like kind of dove out and like ended up splitting into two different type of ships. And like and one like they like submerged into each other, not back into each other, but like went back into the water. But like I guess one of the planes up in the going by it has cameras going down just to see like who's like if there's any unsuspicious like activity going on.
Yeah.
Um, and you can look this up. Like this plane actually was like, as someone was looking it up, was like, yeah, there's actually a route that was going down that way, and it could have been real. Like with all this stuff, you never know because Photoshop.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
so it's always like take the stuff with a grain of salt. Just
Yeah.
like ghosts, like you can, who knows? Like everyone could just be like, oh, this real, oh, this isn't real. But like, I mean, it's just crazy to think about something that's able to go up, split in half, and go back into water.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
it's not like a dolphin. It's not like nothing like that. It's just it's just weird. Um, but anyways, like the world that we live on, we only know a quarter of what's on this world. Like we know 5% of the ocean. 5%. I could be a little bit off, but I think it's pretty close to 5% of like that we're able to search. And it's just like, how is there any way like we could figure stuff out like that? Like, will we ever be able to figure out stuff about
Right.
the ocean? Or is it kind of like, oh, it's a volcano, we can't go inside the volcano? Should we always look at it that way? Like, or
Right.
do you think one day we'll have like a fire rated suit that we're able to just like stand in lava?
Exactly. Exactly. Because like, if you thought about it, like 200 years ago, they were like, if you like back to what we were saying earlier, though, if like you were to fly something 200 years ago over everybody, they'd be like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? They'd be like, that's fucking insane. If you were to fly, literally fly something over somebody, like
Yeah.
they'd be like, what the hell? So like,
And yeah, it's just crazy to like maybe there is something that we don't know because the
right.
military isn't going to tell us, especially with TikTok nowadays. China can easily like look into TikTok. They've been proven that they do that. Like, what if they're like looking up like
Right. Yeah. I mean,
our scientists stuff?
yeah, well, yeah, I don't think our scientists are. Maybe they are fucking doing TikTok. What's a disturbing thought is our fucking president, our future president, is probably posting TikToks right now. That's disturbing,
Why you have to tell me that, man?
bro. It's awful.
Why would you ever say
It's
that?
awful. 2040, we're fucked. Um, but
um, but
what's
what
up?
about the balloon that's going on right now? I think that'd
So
be a good topic.
they shot that down actually.
Yeah, Barrett 50 cal shot
Yeah,
it.
it's insane, bro.
But we were talking
I don't
earlier.
know.
It's like, why would they? How could China
Yeah, so like
just
if
ship over a balloon that
yeah,
no one knows about, but they could ship over all these
ha,
crates? Like, why does it matter about a balloon? And how did we not sh- be able to find a balloon? We're able to
right.
freaking see like with our what are those cargo ships? No, the ones that carry all the ships and all that, and carry all the planes on the ocean. What's that called?
Oh, like god damn it, I had it in my fucking brain. I know what you mean though.
But yeah,
Like the
they
aircraft
have
carriers.
yeah, aircraft carriers. So they have lasers on them, which can freaking like they're real lasers. Like I don't know like how good they are, but I've seen videos over it. And then they have like sonar or that
Yeah.
goes under, and then they his sonar go up too,
Well,
but they're
they do
able to
have air
find birds.
traffic. Yeah, they have air
Yeah.
traffic control and shit. So like my thing that I said to you earlier was how the fuck did it get through every single the coast of America and then all the way through states? Because it was in Kansas. People in Kansas City saw it, right?
Oh, really?
So yeah. So if it was in Montana and they shot it down up there, bro, it had to have come from like east to west because I don't think it would go west, east, and then back west. Like that would be, not really a like what the fuck would they be doing there? So like I think it came from east to west and like dude,
Why
like
they call it China? Like I don't understand
it
how
was
that could
Chinese.
even.
It was
It
Chinese.
was.
Apparently, it was Chinese. But also, you could use it into the theory that they might be using this to fucking spark World War III. They might be using this as a fact to just be like, oh, Chinese is in, like the Chinese are invading our airspace. Like blah 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 blah. We need to better defend ourselves. And then they'll do it again, except for they'll fucking pin a terrorist attack or some bullshit. And then guess what? Now we're in balls deep into a World War III against Russia and China, and it's just like nobody fucking wants that. Nobody wants that shit. Like we're in a
You know
day and
the
age where we can contact each other in an instant. You could have
yeah.
a phone call with the Chinese president, right, or the emperor. I don't know what they have, but you know what I mean. Like you could, I think they have a president. You could fucking have a phone call with them right now, and just like Biden could sit down and call them and fucking have an interpreter there and fucking just like be able to hash it out. And it's
Yeah.
like instead of
Why do we blame it on China though? Like I don't understand. Like
because
why not?
it's a way to do it because Russia is already like full stretched. So like
Yeah.
they're trying to sell in the news right now that Ukraine like cuz we don't know over here. We know what the news will tell us over here,
Yeah.
right? So like they're trying to sell right now that Ukraine is crushing Russia, right? So they're trying to sell that the Russians are stretched thin. So if they were to say it's a Russian balloon, they'd be like, well,
I'd be
then the
like, why are
Russians,
they coming after the United States?
yeah, why are
Like
they over here too if they're stretched so thin over in Ukraine, right? So they can't play that. So what they want to do is they want to do, well, we have people in Taiwan and around Taiwan and we're trying to like protect them, quote unquote. So China is going to be pissed off with us, blah blah blah
and
blah
just give
blah
us a
and
reason,
send
pretty
it,
much.
give us a reason, right? And it's so fucked that it can actually that people can actually conceive that theory now. However, there's fucking like there's so many things that were like coincidental with like government. Like, have you seen? This will be a whole nother episode, but have you seen the Kennedy and Lincoln theory or coincidences?
It's been a while, but yeah, I've seen stuff like that.
Yeah, they were both shot in the back of the head. Like, they had like their vice presidents had alternating names. Like it was just fucking weird, dude. It like there's a whole bunch of coincidences that are just off the fucking charts, man. And so like this has come up over the years and like they keep misplacing and they won't declassify the JFK assassination files, right? Because it was a government it most likely was a government setup. Most likely
Never
was
will. Like
governmental.
that
Yeah.
stuff's never gonna come out. And I think it's so crazy that we care about a balloon. Like this is what they're trying to like. It's a
Right, but
Chinese. It's kind of like
the thing is, Preston,
Alex Jones. Like he's the one that created all this. Like you can look up the whole entire United
right.
States on Google Maps. you can see the whole thing. Why would they send over a camera to look it up?
Like a weather
Like it's
balloon
no,
over here, right? So
yeah.
that's the main concern,
Like,
Preston, because it could be disguised as a weather balloon, but it could be like an EMP or some bullshit,
oh,
right? So they could send the fucking EMP and shut down in a major areas like a network, cuts off like a whole area, and then do like cyber. That's one of the biggest. That's one of the biggest things is everybody's afraid that this latest war, like World War III, whenever it does come, it's going to fucking be a cyber warfare, and
oh,
people are
have you
gonna
seen the
like,
dogs?
oh yeah, the Boston Dynamic things, yeah, but
Bro, that is scary.
they're talking more like they're gonna be able to hack into like electricity things and like like the electric
Yeah.
places that like give you electricity to everybody and be able to shut those down and like shut down like just basically everything because some cars are fucking completely electrical and automated so they could shut those down, dude. So like
There's some good hackers. Like, I ain't gonna
yeah.
lie.
Oh
Like,
yeah. And if those are
people
freelance
are too
hackers,
smart.
if those
Yeah.
are freelance hackers that are too smart like that and can hack a famous person's account or like do whatever, you don't think the government has better hackers than them? Because I bet you they fucking do. I
Or even
bet you they do.
China's
Oh
fucking
yeah.
like people like they're sending from kids. Be like, you're gonna be studying this computer from day one.
Right. So like
If you
that's
don't
another
study
thing.
it, then
TikTok in China is completely different than TikTok over here. The TikTok over here is full of people fucking
junk.
dancing and doing junk, right? And the TikTok over there is like they promote education and learning and like stuff like that, like actual like worthwhile stuff on their tick version of TikTok because that's how their entire fucking culture is. And they have, I think they have like they have like 1.3 trillion people, or not trillion. Sorry, I'm a fucking idiot. 1.3 billion people, and we only have like 300 million. So like they they literally have like a billion more fucking people than us. That
But
could be
like, we
fucking
do not
detrimental.
want education up on TikTok.
Americans, yeah,
Yeah, if you
Americans
talk
will
to any
not fucking.
freaking like 19-year-old, they're gonna be like, do the freaking
They want stuff
walk,
like this.
or I don't even
They
know.
want spooky stuff to think the government's out to get them. You know what I mean? They want shit like this, like
Oh
that
yeah.
scares them, right? So going back into like your our stories though about like the how they kind of look like
Like,
UFOs, like they kind
yeah.
of look like shooting stars, right? I have this right here that is from Texas in 2008. It's from Stevensville, right? Stevensville, Texas. And so there were, um, it says right here, on the evening of the 8th of January 2008, multiple people would witness a strange array of lights, seemingly belonging to one solid object in the night skies over Stevensville. There were dozens of official reports to go on record, all matched each other in terms of detailed description and times of sighting. The objects had several lights along its side, all of which were flashing. Their sequence seemed to be what of a predetermined and purposeful order. Maybe something even stranger, for an object as huge as this was. It appeared to produce no noise, it simply silently hovered over the bemused residents of the town. Okay? So, this right here, for the viewers, I know I'm sorry to everybody who is audio listening right there. This is one of the pictures of it. Let me zoom out. This is super grainy, and that is one of the proclaimed pictures of the UFO right there. Okay. So there is also another case similar to this, and this one's more prevalent. Most people will know this one, called the Phoenix Lights. Preston, do you know what the Phoenix Lights are?
Is that the one that happened a couple of years ago?
This happened in 1997.
Maybe. There's a lot of them. So
So this one was like essentially there were lights that were hovering in the same like a unison pattern, right? And it looked like the military called it like flares. They were doing flare testing, okay? However, they were in a pattern and they looked like they were all following each other, okay? And so this is very similar to the Stevensville lights, and this one is absolutely insane when you look at it. Go ahead and pull this over into the screen here. Ooh, okay. Keep messing up. What's
you
that?
want to know why you're looking that up?
Yeah.
You want to know something crazy?
Oh, sure.
That I don't know. It just there's no facts
So you
on
can
this,
see
but
right there, there might, it looks like there could be a full fucking shape right in there. but who knows, right?
Yeah, it's just one of those things. Like,
Right in
it's
there.
from 1997. I wish like
Yeah.
it'd be cool like to have that. Like,
So those are one of the supposed pictures of the Phoenix Lights, and those are similarly tied to what people saw in 2008 in Stevensville, Texas. So, what do you think, Preston, with that? Sorry to cut you off, but what do you think with that right there? Do you think it's military, like they said, or do you think it's alien?
I think I think it could be aliens, just because I think the military will try to use anything they can to scare the public
Yeah.
or even like scare their enemies. Because the enemies look at that, they're like, they said it was like it could be aliens, but at the same time, what do they have?
Right.
Like, what does America have? We
'Cause-
could.
Go on,
It's
sorry.
all about tricking the enemy into thinking like, oh, if they have like UFOs to us, like it's kind of like whenever we brought in the, did we bring in the warplanes and stuff like that?
I'm not sure, but I know that we were like the first one to correct like the actual atomic bomb, like the nuke and shit. But like to add to your point though, is like if we were to keep this shit under wraps and were to just test it, and people were like to make people think it was aliens, however it was just military technology, and we had the capabilities to do this type of shit, like they would want to keep it under wraps because then they could get the plans out. Like
Yeah,
the enemies would the enemy countries or whatever the hell it may be would be able to like start to piece those things out and like break it down just visually and like how it operates and shit like that. So like they most
kind of
likely
like
would
the
keep
Iron Man.
things right. They would
Like,
most
not to be
likely
cringe
keep
about it, but
things.
like,
No, you're right. It's similar to that. Like um, to keep things under wrap like that would be probably in the military's best interest, but also at the same time, if it was aliens, dude, look at it this way: if it was aliens, you're abolishing a shit ton of religions immediately. If the government came out and just were immediately like, there's aliens. There's fucking little people that fly around. Not even little people. There's just people that are things that fly around in these fucking machines. We don't know what they're here for. We don't know like the mass panic that would set out throughout the entirety of the streets and countries everywhere across the globe, and like all the
oh yeah,
religions.
the panic.
People believing Jesus Christ, like they would stop believing in Jesus Christ and like all this shit. And it's just like, dude, if they were just to come out and just be like aliens are real, like it would ruin so many people's lives.
Well, and it's kind of like we talked about those people that the indigenous people that like just live off the
Right.
land. And like whenever they see the helicopter for the first time, like, oh fuck, like what the fuck is that? Like, I mean, what if like the government's doing that and like, I mean, you could always look up and be like, what the fuck is that? Like, is it anything? Like, there's always that aspect. What if we do
Right.
have stuff like that? Or like, yeah, we could ruin like religion because religion is such a big, powerful like thing in this country, in this world. Like, they're going to be using religious against us for the rest of our lives, I feel like.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Which is sad. Like if you want to have a spiritual being, have a spiritual being, but like it shouldn't have power behind
Yeah.
it.
Right. Um, I mean, it gives some people power though, because some people might be just completely fucking lost with their life, and they find Christ or find whatever, and they just can actually deal with it because they have somebody to fucking somebody quote unquote to listen to their problems and to like somebody to go to every day. Like if something goes wrong, they're like, oh, it's just God testing me to test my faith. Blah 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 blah. Some wild shit like that.
Yeah.
So this next one, Preston, this next one is insane that I have for
Okay,
you,
but
man.
before you get into it,
Yes, sir. What's up?
I want to ask you a question.
What up?
Every time something like this happens, like where you think you like saw something crazy or
Yeah.
you any of that type of stuff, where's your phone?
Right.
Like what
That's
makes it where your phone's not in your pocket? Your phone's always in your pocket. Like I'm not just talking to you, but I'm talking like
yeah.
in general. In everyday lives, it's like we have our phones with us 24/7. We are
Yeah.
not leaving the house without it. You freaking like you're like, oh shit, I need to take a picture of this so I can like have proof. Like you don't want to sound
Right.
crazy. Like you
Yeah.
tell people like I saw this and they're gonna be like, what bro, just
Yeah.
sleep a
Like,
little bit more.
come
So
on.
then like, yeah. So I think it's so crazy. Like what? makes people forget their phone whenever shit like this happens, or like what happens when the phone is just magically dead, like you have 30% and it's dead, or like
Right.
this even happened to a couple of people I know. Like someone on the tornado was looking up recording and it never recorded. Like, I'm not saying that's like paranoid, like how does that happen?
I mean, accidents do happen. They could have just hit the fucking, record button like
Like
I did
double click it.
last week,
Yeah,
like I
speaking of
did.
that, is it recorded?
Yeah, I think so.
But
I think so. Um, yeah, man.
yeah,
But so
that's crazy to me.
with that, there's like a meme surrounding that too. It's like, quick UFO honey, grab the worst camera we have. You know what I mean? Because it's like it's always like shitty, grainy little shots. But
Yeah, that just looks weird. You're like,
oh
what?
yeah, oh yeah. So this fucking story though, Preston.
I'm excited.
This is from an admiral. His name is Richard Evelyn Byrd, and he was born in what is that 1888 and he died in 1957. Okay, this is a quote from him. During the course of a 2-year period which extended from about early 19 oh wait, I'm tripping, hold on cuzzy, I'm tripping. I started reading a completely different fucking page. Okay, so labeled as fringe ideas, right? However, like this guy was labeled as like he had like fringe ideas and like he wasn't being fully truthful about what he saw. So this man led an expedition from the U.S. Navy to Antarctica. Okay, and so like essentially he said some pretty weird things when he got back, man, and he was the things that happened there, they weren't too sure about, right? They had enough supplies to go for 8 months. They had enough supplies to go to 8 months, right? And they weren't just down there just to like dick around. They were down there to make sure that American troops would be able to survive if the Soviets at that time were to attack from one of the poles, okay, from like the South Pole. So
Yeah,
they went through and they only stayed for 16 weeks instead of the 8 months, which is roughly about half the time. They roughly stayed about like 4 months, right? So when they got back, there were weird reports, okay? So a lot of people are led to believe that when World War II ended, a lot of the Nazis fled to Amsterdam and like, around that area, right? And
yeah,
so
I've heard that before too.
right, they fled to like Amsterdam and like South America and places around there, okay? So like there's another theory though that one of the top guys that was like good friends, not good friends, but he was like right underneath Heinrich Himmler, which is like one of Hitler's left hand, right hand men, right? He had this, they got a transcription from Heinrich Himmler, this guy did, and he asked about a delivery about a truck, okay? And this guy replied, he cannot deliver the truck. And they think it's a code for this type of plane, a plane that could fly 10,000 kilometers, okay, and without stopping. So they think this man took the plane and a bunch of soldiers, because there was only two ever in existence, and he had one of them. And they never recovered the plane. They think he took the plane and flew to Antarctica with it and started building a new Nazi regime there, okay? And so they think that the Nazis were like super good with underground bases and like their structuring and everything underground. So they believe that the Nazis went to Antarctica and set up a base and like created a deal with aliens in Antarctica to advance tech, okay? And so they think that some of those people were then the ones who came and were signed on by the US government for like the space programs and shit like that, cuz you know how like so during that time, like during the Cold War, they were trying to race to space, race to the moon, right?
Yeah,
So the Soviets got a lot of Nazi scientists, and the Americans brought a lot of Nazi scientists over. And you saw with that building, I showed him a building the other day, guys. If you look up the Navy, the American Navy, the U.S. Navy, if you look at their barracks in Coronado, California, it's a literal swastika. Okay, so you can see like in the U.S. government built in from the 40s after World War II, there was a lot of like Nazi level fucking shit that went on. Like one of the main guys at NASA, one of the main founders of NASA was an ex-Nazi. Okay, so this whole thing signs on, and it's like there's little things pieced off. Like what if they actually did, go to Antarctica because they knew there was like some ancient technology there, or some technology that nobody had fucked with before, and then maybe the Americans went down there and fucking found them, and like that's what started a whole progression. I'm completely uninformed on this, dude, but just like reading the story has my fucking mind blown. Like this last week, I was looking at this one and I was just like, this is the most insane thing that you could ever think of. Like a Nazi, like alien pact where they fucking like were trying to figure out like these crazy technologies, and then the Americans came in and like basically like offered them sanctuary, which they shouldn't have fucking done. But then and then like it just like was so fed into the government from that point forward after World War II, where like there's like secret Nazi symbolism almost everywhere. It's just
Oh yeah,
there's
everywhere.
yeah, it's just fucking insane, man. With like this type of shit, that could just be like that's just hidden. Like if you never saw that base from the sky, like if you never got like a bird's eye view on that Navy base, you would never know it was in the shape of a swastika. And he said it was for like air conditioning and lighting at the time, but also said that he didn't think it was going to be viewed from the air. So like, and they invested millions of dollars into that building to get it restructured, and that was like 16 to 10 years ago, 10 to 16 years ago. So like they still haven't done it yet, and I'm sure that money's fucking gone by now. So the fact that like they could be fucking using all of these like technologies from there. So this happened. This thing to this expedition to Antarctica took place in 1946. Okay, 1 year after World War II ended, and 1 year before the crash in Roswell, New Mexico, which was sparked the Area 51 type of shit, right? Because where
Yeah.
they brought the crash from Roswell to Area 51, and then like supposedly brought the bodies to McPherson Air Force Base, which was where next to where I lived in Ohio.
Really?
Yeah, so like Ohio is notorious for alien sightings, but also there's a bunch of fucking hillbillies and weirdos out there, so they could just be making up everything. If you're from Ohio, fuck you. No, I'm joking. But yeah,
Damn.
I just I think this is fucking insane, man. Just the fact that like
Yeah. And the government like
yeah,
is notorious for like doing stuff like this.
oh creepy
Like
fucking
not
shit.
just like the Nazis, but like
Oh
with a
yeah.
whole bunch of stuff, like religious stuff with like the I mean Nazis is kind of like religious, like it was like
And I just want to preface, guys, we're fucking idiots, and we just look these stories up for entertainment. We don't believe any of this shit. We're just giving these stories to you as a form of
I keep
entertainment.
saying that. Yeah, I keep
Yeah,
saying like I don't know anything what I'm
I
talking
have
about,
no fucking idea. I'm an idiot,
but
but I
like
thought these were
seeing
entertaining.
like all these like little things
Right.
about like just Nazis. Like there's you could if you look hard enough, there's a whole bunch of stuff, especially after World War II.
Oh yeah.
It's like before like the 2000s. Seemed like the 2000s they're like, oh, we better start like
Tightening up.
covering our stuff. Yeah, like this like TV type stuff, and like even eventually now it's like we gotta really like have NDAs going out there because like if you say something about the NDA,
Yeah,
they're never gonna let you see
if
anything
you
of
mention
that
being
NDA.
on an NDA, or you mention signing like a contract where you can't speak, you're done speaking. Like they're not going to show you anything else, you know? Like, and that's like with
And
Bob
then they could sue
Lazar.
you for everything. Yeah,
Yeah, do you know who
sounds
Bob Lazar is?
sounds super familiar.
So he worked at a I think it was Area 52, they nicknamed it or something. He worked at this base, right? And he was like he was a scientist that built a jet propulsion system into the back of his car. Like insane,
Damn.
crazy smart guy. And so they had him work on these, like, they had him see, like, look at these alien spacecrafts, and he was supposed to, like, reverse engineer, essentially, this element called element 115, okay? And so this wasn't a, like, thing at the time. This wasn't an element known at the time when he worked there, supposedly. And so he had at the base, he said there was hand scanners. There was like a bunch of shit that he said a lot of like years prior, and then they come out to the public like 10, 13 years after he said this shit, right? So he's had his home raided multiple times by the government for no reason. He's had like a whole bunch of shit happen to him for absolute no reason, and it's because they think he will. It's because they think he has a little bit of that element 115, right? They think he has a little bit of it in the secret space and blah, 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 blah. The whole story goes on. But so eventually they fucking went out and they confirmed that element 115 was was an element and it was man-made. Like man could make element 115, but they don't have the capabilities to like use it in technology. But it was like he's essentially telling you that it was like or telling people that it's like a gravity propulsion system where like it just ignores the physics of gravity and just is like it's fucking wild to hear him explain it. He's so smart, and like a lot of it goes over like a normal person's head, and I'm dumber than a normal person, so I just like take bits and pieces that sound interesting, you know what I mean? But
Oh man,
like
looking up this stuff, I was so
yeah.
overwhelmed for this
Oh
podcast
yeah.
just because like
Oh yeah.
I
I
can't
thought it
read, I can't say these things, man, that they say. Like I tried pronouncing them, like bro, just
right.
speak English. Tell
Yeah.
me if it's real or not.
Like I like this shit, so I thought it would be fun, and then I got into it, and I was like, "Oh my god, bro!" I was like, "Holy shit!" Like I stayed up till like 5:30 the other night, and I was just like reading stories and trying to filter out like the best ones. And these ones I don't even feel like are some of the best ones. However, it's just like the fact that you
Well,
could
I think
like
if you want the best ones, you got to go.
you got to go
Well, best
deep.
ones are not going to be on the like internet.
Yeah.
That's going to be like you got to go to freaking
Oh yeah.
like Alaska. I've like people from Alaska have seen some shit.
Oh probably,
Just because like ain't no one living up in Alaska, and if they do, it's not like the boonies of Alaska.
bro. So I bet you there's a bunch of people that live in cabins up in Alaska that
But
just
like, I
like,
bet they've seen some shit.
oh probably.
Like that's just no cap. Like you can't tell me they haven't
Yeah,
seen
but
nothing. Like
how much is just the world being fucking weird, bro? Like honestly, how much of it is just the world being absolutely insane? Because like I sent you the ball lightning the other day that was going across the train tracks and it was like shocking down. Like if you saw that up in the air and just floating around and shit, you would think it was a fucking UFO. You would totally think that was a UFO if you saw that floating around in the air. So like how much of this could just be chalked up to just weird occurrences in the fucking earth? Like we don't have eyes on the ocean 24/7. So like with your story, dude, like it could just be a natural occurrence that happens like once and like 1 in 1,000 times or like 1 in 2,000 times or 200,000 times. Like it could be a very rare occurrence that they just haven't ever seen before that they spotted.
yeah,
Like we don't know every creature on the planet. We don't know like everything that the planet does. Like it freaks a whole lot of like the world's core, for instance, is stopping the rotation. It's going to reverse. Okay, the Earth's core is going to reverse rotation. Okay,
fuck.
it's done that though. It does it like every 70 years or so, or every
Oh,
60 or 70 years, right?
that's not bad.
Right. It changes polarity, not polarity, but it just fucking reverses and it starts back up again. But if you post just the world's core, the Earth's core is stopping spinning, people are going to flip shit. They're gonna
Like it's
think,
like the
or
world's gonna stop spinning. Like when
yeah,
I heard that, I'm like, what the fuck? Like,
yeah. Or if you tell them the Earth's core is gonna reverse, dude, hold on.
oh, it's kind of like telling people like the sun is gonna like dissipate, and it will
Right,
one of the days. But like,
right. It will, but we
you
none
just
of us
have
will be
this thought,
around for
like,
that.
yeah, you just. I mean, we could, but like,
Right.
you just never know. Like, it's no reason to like worry about it. Like, the world's gonna do what the world's
If
gonna
you
do.
tell people that the fucking Earth's core is going to reverse, right, is gonna stop, slowly stop, and then reverse. People think that it fucking means the entire Earth is going to reverse, right? And so, like,
Yeah,
you start hearing people talk about the biblical, like, oh, this is what they talked in the Bible about the sun rising in the fucking west and setting in the east. You know what I mean? And it's just like, no, it's not what's happening. The Earth is perfectly fine. The inside of the earth is just twisting, and it does this. It just does this scientifically. So, like, who's to say that there's millions, if not billions, of things that happen scientifically around the globe that we just, since we just don't have eyes on it, we can't fucking see. Like this tribe right here. This tribe right here, who knows what they do as that tribe? Like, as a tribe. You know what I mean? Like,
Man.
nobody knew that they were out there until fucking just recently. So like they could be doing like whatever the fuck, and like we don't know. Like they could be a fucking, like they could look like that, but then underground, like this is so far fetched, but underground they could have like a complete fucking decked out
Like layer.
civilization. Yeah.
Yeah. Like like Dexter type shit. Fucking like they get like send all the people up top to protect them, make it look like a what if it's like um holograms?
Oh,
I feel
dude.
like that would be crazy, man. Like a hologram, like, oh, let's send out these people. They look a little off, but like people never come here as a respect thing. Like, oh, like they have their own type of way of living.
Yeah.
Like, we're not gonna go like fuck with them. Like, we've already done enough in this day and age. We're just gonna let them be. Like, what if it's just like, or what if it's media doing that even? Like someone higher up has that. Like, let's just put Donald Trump into perspective. But I know it's not Donald Trump, and that's probably not even true. But like, what if like they own that? They're able to have a hologram of just people out front, kind of like you look at it, and then
Dude.
boom, you never want to go there because like I don't want to mess with this, and it hides their like because Area 51 is like so mainstream now.
Yeah.
So they're not going to keep anything too high classed in Area 51. They
Right.
would do something like that to like I don't know, try to trick our brains. I
Oh
mean, that's
yeah.
probably just my third eye opening up and like, man, the sun's gonna come in. They're hiding in the sun.
Yeah.
But you
Like
never know. Like anything can happen.
it's just wild to me, dude. It's just the world we live in is so fucking strange, man. Just
Well, and we don't know anything about it. I think that's what makes it strange. Like
yeah.
the curiosity killed the cat. It's a real saying because like
And
you
if
go
the
looking into something, you
yeah.
could end up dead.
Well, okay, not even that though, but the earth is like what, 70% ocean, and then we don't know shit about the ocean. So like if the earth is 70% ocean and then we barely know a percentage about like maybe like what, 10, 12, 15% of the ocean, like we have the entire earth almost that's fucking just completely undiscovered at this point. If you look at it that way.
Like, what's saying that like aliens haven't figured it out? Like, you know how long it's gonna take for us to figure this out?
Right.
It's gonna take years, and the aliens are like, bro, we've been
Or
living under your noses for this long, like just stealing your resources, or not even just stealing resources, just like living life. Like, I don't know what they'd be doing here. Like,
I mean, they
they're
could they could be us from an alternate dimension where things went fucking tits up, so they're coming here to fucking warn us about shit, or like, you know, or us from the future or something like that. Like they could not even be just complete fucking aliens, like little green guys from space or something. They could be us, like not us personally, but just people from the future coming to warn us, or alternate fucking dimensions, dude.
I think about that too much, man. Like how like you dream about something and then it's that like reality. Am I just living like what's really a dream? Like
Right.
is right now a dream and then when I go to sleep, like I'm living a whole nother life that I just forget when I wake
Right.
up. Because most of the time you can't remember a dream. Especially
Yeah.
farther on there through the day, you're like, did I go there? And then it just turns into a
Yeah.
jumbo mess. And
Dude.
like I don't know, I've had experiences where I thought I've seen stuff about real life. I'm like, oh, like I have a shortcut to get to my house.
Yeah.
And I've lived here for 20 years, let's just say. That shortcut's not real, but in my dreams, it showed me that it was real. Yeah,
What?
that's a lot off topic.
No, no, I get what you mean. It has to do with like dimensional shit. I think that shit at the same time too. Like earlier, I was talking and I was kind of like what if we are in reality? Let's say like realities are on levels, okay, and we're on reality zero. Let's just think we're egotistical. Let's say we're egotistical for a second. We're the base reality. We're reality zero. Who's to say that when you make choices throughout the day, when you go to sleep, you can't get flipped to a different reality? So, like, you go to reality 1 or reality 10 or reality 187, right? And depending on what you did that day, you have these dreams, right? And that's what affect you. And you peek into these alternate realities of yourself. Because most of the time in your dreams, you're your fucking self, right? Like, I've never had a dream where I wasn't myself.
Never,
Right.
never. That's
So
crazy.
what if you're like this is base reality, but you're fucking peeking into billions of realities when you go and have a dream, and like reoccurring dreams are because you're making the same choices in your life, right? So now people that's where you get into like the whole dream spect of it, where it's like, well maybe you're if you're being chased in your dream, you're running from something or like whatever, like running from a situation in your life, okay? So like, well, what if that's because you're making the choices throughout your day? So then you're peeking into the reality where you've done nothing besides run from all of your choices your entire life, and now like it's led to this moment where you're being chased by a fucking monster, and like in that dimension you have that choice to either fucking stand up to the monster or to keep running away from it. You know what I mean? So like, what if it's just a fucking peak? Like, what if this conscious turns off and instead of like it's just like, oh, we're creating insane, wild things with our imagination. What if it's fucking like we're turning our conscious off, and then it's not actually turning off. It's just to a different fucking dimension, different universe where we're having complete different. Like there's sometimes where you have dreams and you'll have a different car, but that car will be the same fucking color every single time, right? So
Or something will be the same.
yeah, there's
And
like one
usually a
thing
whole
that's the
bunch of
same
other
every
things will be
single time.
different.
Yeah,
It it still looks like I don't know. Usually the house will look the same. Actually, no. The other day I lived in a different house, and I thought that was my house. I
dude.
don't bro. Like, what makes your brain sometimes flicker on? Like you have that little
Dude,
like
I have no
matrix
idea.
feeling.
I have no idea because the other day, it was a while ago at this point, I had a fucking dream that I was like in my dream, I was alive for 3 fucking days. It's not like I died at the end of the dream, right? But like I fucking in my dream, I woke up, I let my dog out, I went into the bathroom, I showered, I brushed my teeth, I ate food, I watched like a weird version of YouTube, right? And I did this for fucking 2 days in a row. And on the third day, I woke up, I was laying in bed in this like weird bed, super big bed with Hagrid, and I was getting ready to get up to let him out. And I was on this weird version of Instagram, and then I looked because I was gonna go send a message to the group chat on Instagram, and I was like, "This isn't fucking Instagram." So I swiped off, and I was like, this isn't even I was like, this is like a knockoff iPhone. What the fuck? So then I looked around. I wasn't even in my fucking house at all, bro. Wasn't even in my fucking house. So then I got up and I was like, Hagrid, where the like I was like, just because I talk to Hagrid all the time, just because I'm a fucking loon. I love my dog, so I just like to talk to him. And I'm just like, Hagrid, where the fuck are we? And so like I'm just fucking like I go to open the door and then like I turn around to look at Hagrid, and the fucking door had melted into the wall, right? So there was just a handle and no more fucking door. And so I'm sitting there in
Oh,
my dream and I'm just going boom and fucking shoulder bashing into the door to try to like into the where the wall where the door was rather to try to fucking break through it. Dude, and then I fucking like I woke up and in my bed I was in like the same position like that, like lifted myself up on my side, like looking like I was like banging on my mattress while I was doing that in my dream. And I was like, I completely like went to a whole different fucking area for 3 days, right? But then I woke up in life, I like woke up in real life, and it was like fucking 6 hours had passed. Like fucking insane. I did normal shit. Like you know how dreams are. Dreams are like real flashy most of the time. They're just like you're here, now you're there, now you're doing this, and then you're over here. You know what I mean?
yeah.
That
I've had
dream was methodical throughout the fucking day, bro. For 2.5 days, well, 2 days straight, and then on the third day, I woke up and fucking like realized it was not my house and not my life.
I hate that part. Like whenever you live like whole days,
Yeah,
and then you like wake up, and then but you really didn't wake up.
or like
But like you're still in your dream, and it's just like you do it. Like I've had that where like a
Yeah.
couple of days pass by, and then like when you wake up, like like back to what this is, my brain hurts.
Oh yeah.
Does your brain ever like you're like,
Yeah. Or like
did I say what?
when you were going to school, did you ever fucking like wake up in the morning and then fall back asleep? But like, and you'd have a dream that you got up and put on your like took a shower and put
Oh
on your
yeah,
clothes, and then you wake up and you're in your fucking bed again. And you're like, I literally just did this. Like you would get so fucking pissed off because you're like, I literally just did this.
full days in a matter of like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
like, what is a dream? And then like you sleep for fucking let's just say 10 hours. You don't dream about nothing. Like
Or you,
how do
yeah.
dreams work?
Right. It's like sometimes you're gonna like have it might just be with the chemicals. Like sometimes your imagination, like whatever like chemicals in your brain create imagination and like shit like that. Like what if they just have you have more of those chemicals at that certain point in time, and so it just creates those? Or what if it really fucking is like you're just fucking dipping off to a different universe or a different dimension rather, and just fucking like seeing the alternate realities of shit.
Bro, you wanna know something crazy?
What? Hit me with
Kind
it.
of got the chills, like talking about all this. I keep looking at my camera. I'm like, bro,
Yeah.
I bet nothing better like fucking like pop out behind me, man.
No, I don't like, dude. I don't really get the chills talking about this shit. It's just more like, to me, it's crazy to
It's
think
interesting.
about. It's so interesting to think about because nobody fucking knows, dude. Like even with death, right? With death, like in particular, what if when you fucking die, you you use your last brain power, like what you believe in the most, right? So if you believe in God and heaven and shit, you use the last bit of your brain power and it sends you into an eternal like dream where you're in heaven, right? And there's like
Yeah,
because you have memories of people in your head, so you know what they're like, and you can kind of create a conversation with yourself, like if you wanted to, like if like let's say you've like lost like somebody very close to you and you remember how they talk, right? So you could potentially just be like, what would I, what should I do right now? And you could kind of piece together in your brain what they would say back to you. You know what I mean? If you
I mean
open yourself
that
up to
does make
that.
sense though. Like,
Yeah.
because like the Bible, it's like as long as you believe in me,
Right.
you'll
Right.
have a spot for
And
me in heaven. Like,
right.
what if like
So
and
your
like all
last
religions
brain
kind of say,
power.
yeah,
Yeah. Just
like oh, you have to work up to this point in some religions. Like if you work that to up to that point, you're like, oh, I finally made it to that. Or like if you are atheist, you're like, oh, I just want blankness. Like you just that's what you get.
right. Or what
Like
if it
and
is what if there is something spiritual about it? What if it's a
as
mix?
yeah, just like because there's so many religions
Oh yeah.
nowadays. You can't tell me they're all fake. Or I mean, you can't tell me that they're
All real and there's no coincidences or
yeah,
tie-ins between any of
yeah.
them
How come
because a lot of them are
one's
based off the
real
same
and the
thing.
other one's fake? Like
Right. And that's
they
that
all
that
tie into each other.
that goes into a whole thing about, the world today, and like you have people on polar fucking opposites, and it's people that are like, you have these people that are like, I want you to accept me for how I am, and then you're like, okay, but just like I'm not violent towards you, but my religion specifically just does not promote me to accept that, right? It's like just according to my religion, what I believe in personally, just like you believe in that, what I believe in personally just doesn't align with that. And you are a fucking monster nowadays. And put that in any
Yeah,
perspective, you're a fucking monster nowadays. You're not. I'm not saying talking about violence or anything like that. I'm talking about people that are being peaceful about it. They just simply like it's not in their religion, or they just simply don't agree with it. You're putting your beliefs over somebody else's, right? You can think that that person's a piece of shit. You can not agree with that person, but if that person's beliefs give them something personally to them, like if that stopped them from committing suicide or something awful, bro, like who are you to say that
what they
they're
use.
not entitled to that specific belief or like whatever the hell they want to believe? That's why like most things nowadays, it's so like I personally believe that we've never been more divided as a people on this planet, especially because of the internet though. But like it's so to the point now where people just are arguing over the smallest shit, man. And it's like,
For no reason, man. There
right,
ain't no reason.
right, and it's like it's all like we've been around for so long, and people have killed each other over their beliefs during the course of the earth, right? There's been wars over religion. There's been wars over certain beliefs because people believe you shouldn't do this and other people do believe you should. Like, but who's to say that anybody is right and wrong? Well, it's based
Well,
on their
like
moral
the
code.
indigenous people,
Right.
like the Indians, I don't know if that's the right terminology, but like I think it's called indigenous people.
Yeah.
Like they had their own beliefs. Like they believed in this. Like they didn't. There's no Bible. There's nothing. So you're just telling me
Right.
like Jesus, Muhammad, or any of these people never came over, and like these people are just supposed to rot in hell just because they didn't have the opportunity. Like I think that's pretty messed up. Like why would they not let them have the opportunity as the rest of the world?
Right. And it's like if God was real, bro, like he better have a huge fucking apology incoming for Africa and a lot of the shit that he's allowed. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Like, bruh, this motherfucker. Like personally, if God was real, bro, I think he's either dead or he's dipped. I think he's gone. This motherfucker, you got to think like we were doing so much. We're doing so much worse shit than we were like when he supposedly caused Noah's Ark and the flood of the earth. Right? He wiped out the earth because there was quote unquote too much sin and blah 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 blah. Okay, so we are derived from the people that he chose to survive. Okay, according to the Bible. What the fuck? If we're doing like back in the day, you could kill somebody. Like if you wanted to kill 12 people back in the day, it would take you maybe like 30 minutes at the minimum because you had hand to hand combat. You could kill 12 people in 30 seconds today.
Yeah.
And so you're going to tell me that in God's eyes, that's not a bigger sin than the like, you know what I'm trying to say here? So like
And like how many great floods has there been? Like
right,
speaking of like the
right.
Noah's Ark.
So like you don't think we've basked in way more sin now than we would have back then supposedly. Like I think if God were to be real, like I think that motherfucker would be gone. I think he's gone, he's moved on to other shit. Or possibly what about this? In the Bible it does say Jesus rose into the sky in a golden chariot and blah 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 blah. What if Jesus was just an alien? That's why he
Well,
could
then
walk on
that
water.
goes. That's like a full circle now.
Right.
Like because like we're talking about those guys
Yeah.
looking up and like what if it all is just like an alien type of like I think it even
All of
goes
it.
back to our dreams too.
Right.
Like I don't know.
But what is alien? So like what
That's
if
what exactly what I said earlier. Like what is an alien?
what if these people like you say, okay, what if they're underneath the water? They've lived underneath the water the entire fucking time that we've been on this planet, okay? But they come out and they are little green guys with huge heads or like gray guys with huge heads. Like that's textbook definition of what they look like, what an alien looks like, quote unquote. But are they aliens because they came from the planet? So like would people still call them aliens or what would they call them? You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
because if they've been here before even humans
Oh
were
yeah.
like considered humans,
Before
we would
modern
technically be
hominids, yeah.
like we would be considered aliens to
Yeah.
them. We would be I don't know, kind of like not racist, but like
Oh,
humanist.
there would definitely be racism. There would definitely be racism towards aliens.
Oh, for sure.
Oh,
Like
definitely.
if there
People,
was ever just a different being that
yeah,
we had to
like
live with,
that's. I feel like that's one of the main reasons. Also, why if they are real, they wouldn't
we're so judgmental.
like not exploit themselves for us, but show themselves to us. Like you know what I mean? Because if we can't get along about our own. Like if we can't make a peace of mind, like you have different beliefs than I do, but we can still fucking hang out all that. Like we can still hang out and be friends and like be cordial to each other. Like they're gonna be like, well, we're a complete different fucking civilization to them, and we're way more advanced. So if we do something that scares them, they're gonna try to kill us, and then we're gonna have to fucking just take them out. Like why would like we could just study them instead.
There's this what's it called? There's this movie coming out
Yeah.
and I mean, it's a movie, so take it with a grain of salt. But like, we're from the future, and they go like trying to like they're flying these super fast. What's it called? Not a jet, but like a starcraft or something,
Yeah.
just like an X-wing type looking thing, and all of a sudden it starts breaking down, and they fall into like an Earth looking thing, and at first they're like having this like protective like oxygen thing, and they figure out like, bro, this is these are dinosaurs. Like, one if like everywhere like Earth like just restarts kind of like that, and like one if these people were able
Right.
to adapt and hide throughout like the great dangers of life
Yeah. I mean,
because
the
they have
Earth
the
does go
science.
in cycles, right? The Earth goes in
Yeah,
cycles because there's been multiple ice
it's like the
ages
Great
and
Wave.
stuff. Right.
There's been multiple ice ages, there's been multiple great waves, there's been multiple like we only hear about the one about Noah's Ark, but
Mm-hmm.
like it just like the every 70 years about the Earth turning around. Like I don't know, you just find these interesting stories, and you're like, oh, we can make a good story out of this one interesting story, and to make people believe.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's all just I don't know because I don't know anything, man. I'm not saying
Yeah.
I'm a fucking smart dude. Like I'm just trying to live fly.
Just trying to have some fun fucking just fun fucking around, man. Just like I don't know,
But
dude.
I would love to. So this is my YouTube notebook where I put all my secret notes.
Oh shit.
I would love for us to be like that with Anthony, just like riding rocket ships, just hanging out, man.
Dude, we got a long fucking way to go before then.
Oh,
Long way
we're
to
so
go.
judgmental for people just having bigger feet.
Right, like yeah.
Imagine like just a full-on green dude looking like
Or just a full
small and
on
everything,
different species that just has to like live completely differently. Like you
and
would
they
people would treat them
adapted to
like
our
animals.
lifestyle.
Oh
Like
yeah.
they speak English. Like I feel like
Even if they
they
don't
could send
like
one down here, and we treat them like an animal,
yeah.
and then they'd be like, "Bro, what are you doing? Like we gotta destroy you now because like you took us captured, put us in a zoo, and made money off of us."
Oh, I mean, like even like that, like you got to think like if they are these beings that are capable of like instant space travel practically or like dimensional travel and shit, they're gonna be so much more advanced that we wouldn't be able to fucking
Oh,
catch them.
screwed.
However, the threat of us even trying to do some shit like that would probably piss them off. But
Yeah,
also, bro,
we just need to be friendly.
what if like so you know how like this the Earth goes in cycles, right? And shit like just the like there's multiple ice ages and all that shit like we were talking about. If someone so it's been a theory like if someone were to view us millions of light years away, they would see the Earth how it was millions and millions and millions of years
Yeah,
ago because
just
of
like
the
the
space
stars.
travel. Yeah, because of the
We
space
don't know
travel.
what stars alive and what's
So
not alive.
well, like even if they were okay, so like let's say like somebody in a different galaxy were to come in like with a telescope on their planet, look at Earth, they would see Earth, however many light years it took to get there, however many million light years it took to get there, they would see the Earth that many million light years away, like ago. So like they would see us like millions and millions and millions of years ago. So they could, if they see us, they could possibly not even think there's fucking intelligent life until they get closer to
Oh,
the
there's
planet.
aliens that I mean, there's dinosaurs there. Let's
Right.
go there.
So like with the planets that we are scoping out right now that are millions of light years away, they could have fucking civilizations on those planets that we just cannot that we can't fucking see because we're so far away and the time travels differently or like the the image to get it or whatever. You know what I'm trying to fucking say? Like
Yeah, but
they're
how far is Mars even? Like, it takes like how many years?
oh I don't think it I don't know if it's years. I think it's months. I think they got it down to months at this point. But it's the point of like you wouldn't have enough fuel. You have enough fuel to get there, but not enough fuel to get back. So you would have to you'd have to like make a landing station on the moon, and then go from the moon to Mars, and then back to the moon.
There may have been something else, but like I know like it takes a lot of your like mental like
Oh yeah, you age
being just doing it.
you
Yeah,
age
age.
completely differently. You age completely differently, and like
Like you might age every like 4 years going up there or
yeah,
something.
your body. Well, I mean, it's not even that. And your body, you got to understand, like you're so used to zero gravity up there, right? So you're floating around, everything's weightless, and then Earth has gravity. So like picking our arm up now is nothing to us. If you spend 6 months in
Oh, your
space and then you
muscles
pick
would
your
be
fucking
screwed.
arm up, yeah, it's like you have to work yourself back into like Earth's gravitational
Bro,
shit.
that would
Yeah.
suck.
So think
You
about that
spend
also.
months and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden, like you get back to Earth, your body like just collapses. Like
Yeah.
you can't even stand up. Your spine's
And
like
think
broken
about the
because you
radio
just put all the
waves.
pounds of pressure.
Yeah, all the radio waves hanging around in fucking space. Like we don't know what the
Oh,
fuck's out there, bro. Like there could be an intense amount of fucking radio waves. Like there's so much radiation coming off the sun that our ozone and our like the layers of the fucking earth, like essentially like our atmosphere and stratosphere, all the bullshit protects the radiation from getting to the life on Earth, right?
yeah.
So there could be like you could be getting hit with like all types of fucking radiation and crazy fucking shit we don't even know about out there. So like you could get like an insane type of fucking cancer or like an insane disease or something like that
And
from
we're
just
never
being
gonna
out
be
in
able to
fucking
fix.
right,
Yeah.
right, or like getting used to like let's say like interplanetary travel does become a thing. You know how fucking insane it would be to get used to everybody else's different gravity. Like some
Oh,
planets
it
would
would
have
kill
like an
us.
insane amount of gravity, and some places would have like just absolute
Nothing.
no gravity or very light gravity. Like right now, like we could fucking put this like we can set water down, right? But like who's to say on a planet it wouldn't just like a little bit hover there, or on another planet just completely fucking float off? You know what I'm saying? Like the entirety of the fucking universe is so wide and such it's at a margin that we can't even comprehend as human beings. So it's almost like it would be impossible for there not to be another life form or a type of alien out there at the very least. Whether they visit Earth or not is another whole nother
Yeah.
topic. But whether there's aliens or not, I 100% believe there is.
Yeah, I 100% think so. I just think you kind of would have to be ignorant not to think that. Like if
Oh
there's
yeah,
other galaxies, other universes,
yeah,
everything more, like you can clearly tell. Like if there's one sun here, but you see millions of stars up in the air, like
right.
what else is there out there? Like you can see that
All the
far away.
different like
Yeah,
all those stars that you see are the literal version of our sun, but they're just
yeah.
so far away that they look like stars. So like they could
Yeah, I
have
gotta go.
planets. All right, they could have planets around them or not, man. It's just like insane the fact that when you see that, it just you're like, oh, that just is a twinkling little star, like twinkle twinkle little fucking star. You know what I mean? Like that's just a tiny little star, and you're like, oh, that's just pretty. But then when you think about the scope and the magnitude of that fucking little tiny star that it could house, 9 different planets, and of those 9 planets, there could be one chance. There could be a chance that there's like a small population of people, or even like a dense population of people that we can't even see as human beings. So I just think personally, to think that there would be no aliens out in the terms of the entirety of the universe would just be it's such an ignorant take. But
Yeah, that's right.
yeah, with that though, you thinking about wrapping that up, or I think we've been going for a while now.
I think always wrap it up, man. Whatever you want to do, man.
Cool. Yeah,
No,
that's
baby,
very
I'm
smart.
thinking the same thing.
Wrap it
Um,
before you tap it.
I think just to end it off, like we're not pros or we don't know anything about this. Just people
We're
go to school
idiots, and
about
this
all
is our
this,
third podcast ever, so bear with us.
and I'll end with a fun fact.
Let's go for it.
People with astronauts can't use salt and pepper up in the when they're on the spacecraft. You
Why?
have to get liquid salt and pepper because with the zero gravity
Oh
type
yeah, it
stuff,
wouldn't come out.
they'll
Yeah,
go they'll go float and turn into pretty much dust. Like you'll never see those little
yeah.
particles split apart and they start clogging up the airstream and everything.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I heard that. I
Imagine.
was like, bro, what do you mean? Or just like even the smoke, like stuff you don't even think about.
Oh yeah. It'd
Like
be
yeah, that's right.
absolutely insane. Absolutely
If you
insane.
want a steak up there, you got to eat it raw with some liquid salt
But yeah, so thank you so much for joining us on episode 3 of Off the Sticks. I'm not sure what the title is going to be, but we're going to figure that out tomorrow before we go ahead and post this bitch. But yeah, without further ado, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed this episode of the podcast. There's going to be many more podcasts to come, different types. This is just a little one-off thing that we wanted to try. If it gets more views, if you guys do enjoy this though, make sure you comment below and say you want more. You want us to go more in depth with the research, which I know we really could have on this episode, but we just wanted to test it out, test the waters a little bit. So like, leave a comment, let us know what we should discuss in further episodes. Or the most insane alien story that you could think of that you know personally, you could go ahead and leave that in the comments. Even if you like, if you don't even think it's that great, go ahead and leave it down there. Just go get some interaction, and who knows? Like, it might be one of the most intense alien stories that anybody could ever hear, like, or ever has heard on fucking like a YouTube comment, which I think that would be really fucking cool. But yeah. So we're gonna go ahead and get out of here. Thank you for watching Off the Sticks. See you later.